We'll call the committee of the whole meeting to order for the 2026 budget hearings. Today is Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. It's 4:34 p.m. I am Fourth Ward Councilman Mike Ray, and the first item is the chairperson's roll calls. So to my right,
First Ward City Council.
Amber White, 7th Ward City Councilwoman.
Ed Schrein, Youngstown Water.
Abby Benison, Youngstown Wastewater.
Charles Sasso, Public Works.
Mike Drummond, Building and Ground.
Derek McDowell, Mayor.
George McKelvey, Youngstown Water.
Barry Johnson, Water Department.
Kyle Mizek, Finance. Jimmy Hughes, 2nd Ward.
Erica Avery, CPAC.
Josie Lyon, Vice Chair, Youngstown.
Bill Steiner, Wastewater Plant Superintendent.
Rich Harvey, Finance.
Lindsay Merrill, City Clerk.
yeah. Just a little housekeeping. Remember, silence your mobile devices. Cameras do follow the sound, and there are microphones in the ceiling, so make sure you speak clearly. If you are in the audience and we do need you to speak, come up to the table and limit any side discussions. So we'll move to item number 2, which is the departmental budget reviews. The first bullet on our list is wastewater. We've been having Kyle lead us in with those. So which packet is this? That usually takes the most time, is to start turning what packet and what page we're on.
So beginning on page 1, which is going to be looking at the sewer maintenance rehab division of wastewater. When we talk about the large utilities, we do not break out the headcount by individual just because the department size or the division size is too large to break that all down. So what you end up seeing that is different than the other packets is you see the expenditure requests. And then behind this, you'll have the breakdown when it comes to special one-time or unique expenses that need to be highlighted. But I'll start by first identifying that the 27th payroll, in addition to the increase in insurance, is built into this first division in wastewater, and that is showing a year-over-year increase in the budget of $263,000. When you look at last year's actuals, came in at roughly 2.67. This is in alignment with all that's happened in all the other divisions and other units within the city, where I'm outlining the 27th payroll along with the increase in insurance. When you move down to the operating expense, one of the things that we are doing differently this year and making sure that what we are concentrating on is our reimbursements with regards to the county. So some of those expenses that were incurred in sewer maintenance have been moved to other areas so that we can possibly include that in getting additional reimbursement from the county for sharing those services. Last year, we did some infrastructure through this division. This year, those infrastructures are going to be highlighted in the next division, which is treatment and disposal. But that is why you see that year-over-year large, significant decrease. We are not going to be tracking those infrastructure projects out of this particular division.
Thank you, Kyle. Under personnel, what's the head count for that? We don't have the individual breakdown, do you? Abby?
Through the chair, currently we have 78 employees on our payroll.
And how many of that is management or not in the field? Do you know that breakdown, or the bulk of that is all folks out?
That is our entire payroll. In collections right now, we have approximately between 17 and 20 employees.
Okay.
So as we turn the page, you can see that I've not broken out anything that I think is out of the ordinary. Total expenditures are going to be in the ballpark of total 5.8 million. We spend about $300K in $3 million in operating services. This is not out of the ordinary, so that's why we are budgeted at $3 million. And then in regards to supplies, we're around $390 this year, and there was an increase. And I think Abby can express why there was an increase in operating supplies.
Go ahead, Abby.
The operating supplies are our pipe, our castings, pumps, things that we use out in the field in our collection systems. Those would be supplies that we use in-house with our paver masons to replace catch basins, and then also to keep the costs down on emergency repairs that contractors do, we purchase the pipe and any of those burn codes, any of those supplies ourselves, slag, at 57 concrete, just so that we're not getting upcharged from the contractors for those materials. So that's in operating supplies. And then the actual repairs that we would need in our collection system are in the operating services code.
And is that in-house that we pay, or that what we have to do with outside? We have an emergency repairs.
The operating services would be outside contractors. We do not, unlike the water department does repairs in-house, we do not have a construction crew. We do have paver masons that can repair our brick catch basins, but any of our broken pipe catch basins that are needs completely replaced, we outsource that. We don't have a construction crew.
Thank you. Kyle, the utilities, obviously running these pumps, electric is a big portion. Did we get impacted with these rate increases we're all seeing on our higher electric utility bills, and were we able to, I'm sure in both utilities, but water or waste, the bigger with pumping and the lighting that we use, the UV filtration and all that?
Through the chair, you're going to see that it's not in that particular, this unit, you're going to see that in another division.
Okay,
That's why there are no utilities in sewer maintenance rehab.
okay. Anything else we need to look at here?
No, I don't believe so. I think.
Councilman Hughes had a,
Just clarification. I'm following the first page we have in the operating services, yeah? And the totals is what I'm kind of referring to. And then on the second page, we have that you have under, I don't know, maybe even activities. Good.
Yes,
That back and forth.
through the chair. What you're seeing, the first page is us taking the actual budget and putting in a comparison so you can see it against last year's budget, and then identifying it versus the 2024 actuals and the 2025 actuals. So you can look at it side by side. So when you're looking at the second page, that's what the budget document actually, it's how it comes out of the software system. I create this on your behalf so you can see some more additional detail, because the system doesn't allow me to show it side by side, because we track payroll in especially wages and benefits by each of the specials. So the wage line will be 15 line items showing me a component of the total wages paid over the year. So when I use that budget module, if I want to put the comparison against this year's budget, it's one number against 14, and then it lines up. So it'll be like 4 or 5 pages. So that's why I create this in Excel, try to give you a summary comparison of 2024, 2025 actual, and then what was budgeted for 25 versus 26.
So when we have the totals for, let's go with operating. I think that you're saying 51, is that 5,100 operating?
That's, yes, because you're above personal services is 5,001.
So all the things in particular, all the things listed here, they will reflect.
Exactly. When you turn the page, it's going to be your operating expenses for that division up above the top. Yes, it's just me trying to show you what's in the budget is on this Excel spreadsheet. I'm showing you proof that what I'm trying to show you comparison. This is the budget document.
Thank you.
Okay. And if you go to the third page, you can see how, sorry. That's treatment and disposal. So like that. Yes, you're moving on to the next page, which is going to be treatment and disposal.
Okay.
All right, so now we'll address that. Now there's more detail in treatment and disposal. With regards to payroll, this is where the bulk of the headcount is for operations, which is going to be the wastewater treatment site. Year over year, you're going to see an increase of $482,000 in wages and benefits. When you come down for operating, you're going to see a year over year increase of 1.6 compared to last year's budget. And then when you come down a little further, you're going to see something in alignment close to what we did last year and needing 2.2. We budgeted more in we're budgeting more in 2026 because when we get to the third page, we're gonna highlight what those details are. So if you don't have any questions, I'll wait first. If you have any questions on just looking at it side by side, this year's versus last year's budget and what is the request for this total for 2025, 2026.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you turn the page, you're going to see the details of wages and benefits that are in the budget that tie out to what's on the first page. So when you turn to the second page, I'm gonna let Abby talk to you about what's being done with regards to the rebidding of Poland Avenue Pump Station, and then also discussing the West Division Street intersection.
Okay, and what page should we be on? Is this?
It's gonna be,
205?
yes, it's gonna say 205.
Okay, I jumped ahead. Abby, go ahead.
And just to start with this division, one position that we're going to add is, we currently have, a union position that is our plant clerk. We are going to add a management position, of an accounts payable coordinator. Our plant clerk currently is responsible for close to $35 million in expenditures a year. And she's looking to retire this year. So all of that will be kept done in-house down at the wastewater treatment plant. But just for the complexity of what that person does, we're going to move that into a management position and hopefully be able to train somebody before that person leaves, because we do have a lot of payables that come through the wastewater treatment plant. But on page 2 for the breakdown, with the professional services at 1.5 million, that is some of the design work for our wet weather facility. So that's the second phase of our long-term control plan. Some of the projects will be paid out of treatment and disposal. You'll see some later in our budget as well. So that is what the 1.5 million is. The utilities, like you had asked about, Councilman Ray, we did slightly increase what we had set aside at 1.4 million this year in that. And then the next big item is operating services. So our operating service is the disposal of our sludge. We still currently haul our sludge to Republic Landfill. That's in that number. Any repairs that we would have done to pumps, we have many large pumps at the treatment plant and at our 14 pump stations, that would be paid out of that code as well, as long as any like specialty contractors that come in to work on any of our equipment at the plant or any of the pump stations. In infrastructure, we have a project that we bid last year, the Poland Avenue Pump Station. We're completely rebuilding that. It will be a brand new structure in the same footprint that it currently is at, and that's at the corner of Poland Avenue and Walton Street. That pump station is ordered, and we hope to be in construction in April of this year and finished by the fall with a brand new pump station there. That we are paying out of just our surplus at the wastewater treatment plant. We are not taking a loan or don't have any grants on that project. The next item, miscellaneous expenses, is the second phase of our West Division sewer project, which is just wrapping up. That we did get a $4.8 million grant on. So Kyle has that in our budget because the way that OWDA and the Ohio Department of Development are administering their loans now, we have to pay that cost up front. They will not pay the contractors anymore, and then they will reimburse the city. So Kyle needed to show that as expenses we have because we will be getting reimbursement.
To the chair, it's very similar to what we do with OPWC with the roadway budget, where we count that as revenue coming back.
Kyle?
Through the chair. So in the budget, there is exactly this exact expenditure showing up, coming back as a loan reimbursement payment back to the city. What is not in here, what council passed last year, was the $43 million project down that is taking place around Glacier Lake. And the reason that you're not seeing it in here Because it's $43 million, if I had put appropriation of 43 million, we were gonna be out of compliance because we don't have 43 million in revenue. They're gonna be reimbursing us. So what we have done is created a project, and this is gonna be done over the course of 2 years. We will be, as council passes it as an ordinance, this calendar year, I'll be building in $5 million of that project. Flip side, it'll be 5 million in revenue reimbursement. We will keep growing that project up to the appropriation level as we get billed for construction work as it gets completed, and then we will request reimbursement. So the two will offset one another, and eventually, once the project's completed, we will then take on that debt service schedule, and they will provide us documentation of how we're gonna pay that over the next 20 years.
Thank you for that summary. But on the 3.4 there for West Division, that was funded through that, and that's just passing through. We'll get the money. That's not, there's no long-term debt associated with that project.
That is correct, but we have to show it on our books that we're expending it, so this is how we're gonna go about that, and that is why it's down under miscellaneous.
Thank you. Councilman Hughes.
What we passed last year, I believe, November, December. But we also did something prior to that, reference to the same, West Avenue, or whatever that title. And did we not, and each time we do it, you said we appropriate that money, so how, with your explanation today, how does that?
So it's not West Avenue, what's that project called?
That would be the Mill Creek Park Interceptor
So-
Parts 1 and 2.
For the Mill Creek Park Interceptor, because in the past, we would never fund these projects. Council would approve them. And we would then have the state pay the vendor that we chose to do the project. And once the project was completed and paid by the state, they would give us a debt schedule and say, okay, for the next 20 years, you're gonna make these installments annually. Now, because of the changes at the state level, we are being required to fund the project up front and then get reimbursed. And once we get fully reimbursed, they will then provide us with a new debt schedule. So because the project size is so large, if I put that on the books all at once, we don't have enough revenue because I'm not gonna collect it, just like we're not gonna expend all $43 million in 1 year. We're gonna do it in increments. So I'm able to actually add that to our budget under an ordinance, because council already approved the spending of that 43 million. And I'm gonna do it in a step-up process as we expend it. Because as we get reimbursed, we're offsetting those costs. If I put $43 million, we will be out of compliance and will be tagged as an audit finding because we don't have enough revenue to offset those appropriation dollars. It is complicated and it's a new procedure, but it's going to now, going forward with in regards to water and waste, this is how we're gonna have to handle all these projects. So you're going to be passing these ordinances and we're gonna have to figure out how to carefully put them on the books. Because if we put all of them on the books at once, we can't show that we have enough revenue to appropriate that many dollars.
Councilman Hughes.
Yeah, I get that, and that was my concern when we put them on the books at the end of the year, if we had money at the end of the year.
Through the chair, that's why we don't put them as a one big piece. We're doing them in increments as we expend. We will then build up, but we have to track that we end up only putting on what council approves. So that is my responsibility to make sure as I add that incremental increase in that ordinance, I don't go beyond that 43 million that council approved.
Councilman Hughes.
Thank you.
So we've approved it, but as it spends, we add it to the budget.
Yes.
It's up to 43 million and as
Through
you
an
do.
ordinance, yes, and I'm adding, it's called adjustments. You pass the
Yep.
budget and then I do adjustments, and that's the combination with the state audits is the budget and the adjustments. And the adjustments are your ordinances you pass over the course of the year. All right, so now we're gonna move on to admin. Admin is gonna be much larger than you're accustomed to seeing. And really where you're going to see it is under our professional services agreement. You can see that year over year, we're going from roughly 2 million to $10 million. And you're gonna wanna turn the page, because if you look at that first page, if you remove the 8 million, we're actually showing a year over year decrease. Because operating services are not gonna be as high in 2025, in 6 as we budgeted for in 2025. And I want to point out what's in that professional service agreement.
Are you on page 4 of 5?
Yes, council has approved everything in here except for that miscellaneous 308. Those are the normal expenses that are gonna come through that line item. But we have already, through council and board of control, executed these agreements with regards to these different projects for design and then site management, which is gonna be MS. Tried to highlight for you. Now, will all of these get expended where they get completed in 2026? Probably not. Some of these will be soft closed and the outstanding balances will roll over into 2027. However, the 2026 budget will cover that because they're being accounted for in the 2026 year. If you have any questions or you want to ask Abby, she can break down what Arcadis is doing with regards to design for each of these projects.
So Chuck, through the chair, I just wanted to point out that the detail that Kyle provided under the service agreements is essentially, oh, I don't have my glasses today, is essentially one project. This is our long-term control plan. Be our second project. Really, it's the third, but it's a second, but we're doing it third. But at any rate, this is the large high rate treatment facility of eliminating the overflow at 6057. So that this is one project. It's going to be a high rate treatment facility built on the west side of Gibson Street. This is a project that's going to cost probably about 100. We're not to that point where we have a solid estimate yet, but probably about 140 to 150 million dollars that is going to take place all the way through 2030. So when Kyle talks about appropriating, this is going to be funded the same way that Harry's projects are. And as we talked about the loans, we're going to have to fund this with cash. So those appropriations will be staggered in over the next several years. But
So this is all design and site work.
through the chair.
With cash through the chair.
Yes, these are paid with cash. We don't take, they're planning loans.
Right.
In the
Those are high interest.
WPCLF, the interest is higher and the terms just aren't real favorable. So we have, through our rate studies, the surplus that we've been building up was specifically for this purpose. So that's why we did this.
It is a surplus. I hate when we just say that though, because it's used for planning and we're doing $100 million project and we're able to pay cash for the design work. So it's good management in a sense. I mean, we are.
To the chair, it's excellent management.
Okay.
You guys on the same team? Is that what it is?
No, I've been following this long-term control plan since 2010. I mean, I've been with this plan for 15 years.
So as you can see, let me just go back to the pages before. I'm sorry, two pages before. That $10 million for 2026 in the professional services is going to, in essence, cover these design work for that one project. And in the future, just like we talked about with what's happening down at Glacier Lake area, this is also going to be one of those projects that we will do over phases, much larger. And that's why we're going to be having to be very careful of looking at our cash balance, because most likely when we start that project with the construction, the state is going to want to see a guarantee that we're going to be able to meet our debt obligations. And remember, all these obligations that we've currently agreed to are now coming online, where we're going to start seeing a year over year, much larger increase in our debt and principal interest payments.
Thank you, Kyle. Is there one sheet that summarizes the different breakdowns?
You mean like a roll-up?
Yeah.
Yes, I can provide a roll-up of the budget for you so you could see water and wastewater. I'll provide that tomorrow to
Okay.
Valencia. That rolls up each of these so you can see that in total.
Yeah, just because what is this, 30 million now roughly?
It's through the chair, it's actually higher than that in both of them.
Yeah, they're
But I will-
significant.
but
I know we
will
have.
roll- yes, it easily, that's what it does, but I will do that for you.
Okay.
Share with Valencia.
Does anyone else have any questions?
And then the last one is just our pump station, and that is just for utilities. We have it broken out. I don't know why we've broken it out. I mean, we could roll it into one of the other divisions, but it's just what we have across the utilities.
What part of it? I made to the chair.
Go ahead.
You said the pump station itself, and This is all the pump stations?
This is the utilities for the pump stations for on the wastewater side. And that is the wastewater budget.
How many pump stations do we have?
Through the chair, we currently have 14, but we are in design to add a 15th.
And is that one pump at each station, or there are multiple pumps at stations?
Oh, no, there's multiple pumps at each station.
But you separate them from wastewater to, how's that separate?
Yes, through to there are pump stations for water and pump stations for wastewater. They're not the same pump stations.
Don't mix those up.
Yeah,
You won't like that.
No, I understand wastewater, but
we have 14 for wastewater and water has their own.
yeah, I mean, when I asked, was it for all the pump stations?
So
Then you say 14, that's all I was trying to get clarity, 14 wastewater. pumps.
And you're building an additional one. Okay. All right, Councilman Oliver,
we'll have one more final point to make.
go ahead.
We ended 2024 with roughly 34.5 million in the fund. This budget is asking that we subsidize operating expenses this year by 9.7 million. We are going to reduce our surplus to about $25 million.
Is the bulk of that the design work for the wet water? So that was around 10. So that's the,
That's the bulk of, yes, that is correct.
I don't know if this is appropriate, but a lot of press about fees and charging people, for what we do in Youngstown, what we do in the suburbs, Is there any indication that that's coming to fruition, and what would that, how would we, if this is just.
Through the chair, that was more of a discussion on water, but Harry, but we want to internally discuss what's going on between what the county is charging its customers and what the county is charging us to service their wastewater. There's a big gap between what we're getting paid to do the work and what they're actually getting. So we're going to internally discuss that.
are we allowed to have that? Adam's not here to yell at me, so.
Through the chair, all kidding aside or not, I mean, it's something that we haven't really properly briefed Adam on that whole situation, so I don't think it's.
Yeah, we'll save that for a more appropriate venue.
I mean, they've given all kinds of answers, just concerned, yes, we be looking into it.
Yeah.
Don't have to be like, it's trying to.
It is on our radar.
Or whatever it is.
Councilman Oliver,
Are we planning on putting any type of money into like preventative maintenance or like emergency services?
Chucks.
I'm just asking because I see some things with cities like preparing for like EMFs and grids going down and stuff like that. If that happens with us, do we just run off backup generators for pumps or?
Through the chair, I do know in regards to security at the plant, I think it's one thing that I think we've been probably a little bit behind on that. I think we are making an effort and going to be pretty much eliminating all of our chlorine use to some extent. However, in regards to preventative maintenance, the overtime, the majority of the overtime that the sewer crew works is to do the required inspections on our zones. We call them our zones. Right now, we've just completed what we're calling Zone 7. It really has nothing to do with wards. It just depends upon the sewer areas. So Zone 7 is we just finished that. We're finishing that up. So we're in the process of reviewing all the video, and it's taken a little bit of a toll. The guys are working through the summer really hard on it, and we're getting good results. And we'll be assessing the video of the sewers and then starting a proactive approach to replacement within our available budget, obviously. But in regards to the security at the plant, that with the high rate treatment facility, those are efforts we're going to upgrade that with additional fencing, expand the footprint of the plant, and upgrade security and general access to the plant.
Thank you.
Councilman Hughes.
Back in the day, we used to sign people to Meander and all these water towers that we had throughout the city for when we had conflict overseas. You know, those who were absolutely concerned in protecting those as well. I remember doing scheduling for security police officers stationed at all of those, is what I'm saying. When we had some of those, which we are having conflict overseas again, you know, so not that that's what Councilman Oliver was saying, but maybe something we should look into as well, you know, I don't know.
That's what I was saying too.
Through the chair, yes. You know, we're gonna take an organized professional approach to this. We're not just gonna just kind of come up with something. So we do have a plan.
Okay. Anything else? All right, well, seeing no other questions, thank you for the folks from wastewater for attending. And we can move to water. I didn't even make any bad puns about wastewater.
No, you didn't. Aren't we all glad?
So which packet, this is the next packet we're going to,
And start off in color blue again, similar to wastewater. Yeah, you want to do it.
Does a good job too when he does it. Very does.
oh yeah, okay, you haven't let go ahead, Harry, if you want.
There is not a whole lot changed this year from the previous year, but I did want to mention, since that subject did come up about security, one of the things that we did, of course, they have way more assets than we have in terms of pump stations. That last year, we outfitted all of our pump stations with cameras where we could monitor those sites from our phone. So that was something we did last year, in addition to, of course, they're all protected by fencing, but you know, you can't prevent against everything, but at least having the cameras, we can investigate if anything was to happen and see what happened. So I just wanted to point that out
Thank you.
since that subject matter came up. So my budget, really the big change is on the first page, I'm assuming it's in this order. Yep. Okay. Is under infrastructure, you'll see a $1.2 million increase in that particular category. And that is as a result of 4 particular projects. The pump station, the other half of the pump station, we're paying for half of it this year. And well, came out of last year's proceeds. The rest of it will come out of this year's proceeds. That's about 1.5. The combined pressure zones, we're trying to combine the east side zone and the Lincoln Knowles zone. There's a 12-inch pipe that we're going to put on McGuffey to connect it to the pump station where the water will be coming from the Lincoln Knowles zone. That expenditure is about $1 million. And then Route 224, we're working with the state, that's about $1 million. And then the connection on Turner Road, which is about $500,000. So you can see there's a $1.2 million increase over the previous year request for infrastructure.
Thank you. Will that investment with the zone on the east side help alleviate some of the problems that we've been having over
That's
there?
exactly what that is for.
To keep change the flow and circulate better so they're not getting
Exactly.
stagnant.
Exactly. You know, like I mentioned before, this, you know, just population loss, there's not a lot of flow in the Stewart pump station. They may not run for 2 to 3 days sometimes because that water's sitting in the tank. You know, so this project will help with that problem. As a matter of fact, Jimmy, I'll be presenting at the Northeast Homeowners Association in April.
Yeah, that's one of my block watches.
Okay. Just one, I know it was yours.
No, Julius has hit the moon on
Y'all's block watch, how we put like that.
All right, go ahead. What do you on to unless there's any questions?
Yes, I kind of like thinking that when you mentioned like 224 and the other part, what exactly is that? And how's our concern?
Well, this happens frequently where the state is looking to do some infrastructure improvements that will involve our water line. And this is a prime example where they're looking to widen 224. They want to put a boulevard or something in there, but it would make sense to do that project and not replace that line because you beautified, expanded, and we have a water break, we're gonna tear it up. So we worked with them in those particular instances to improve our infrastructure.
So it's preventive, or we already know it's damaged?
Oh, yeah, well, it's not damaged. We haven't had any breaks on that area, but again, if you're gonna put new infrastructure there, it's best to put a new water line there. Yeah, so that's, and we communicate with the state on these projects. That's not uncommon.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Harry.
Yeah, distribution, the second part, where you can see the operating costs. Again, there's really not a huge change with the exception of operating supplies. What I really did there, I reallocated 150 from there, and there's later in my budget, you'll see where I took 400,000 from operating service. I just reallocated that to infrastructure. Plus, in addition to the operating supplies, we're winding down our meter installation project. We're at about 86%. With the goal of hitting about 90% this year. So the expenses involved with that particular project, the costs are starting to come down. So that's distribution. I don't know if there's any questions there. Engineering, there's nothing there except for wages. So there's no external costs associated with that. In the store, same thing, there's wages associated with that. Sorry. Then administration, if you look under this, under the operating, you'll see that big red 400,000. When I mentioned that, reallocated some monies from other line items to.
What page is that on?
It's on,
It's in color.
it's the color
Keep going, it's
5001. It says administration at the top 200. You'll see,
keep going, here you are.
Okay.
yeah, you'll see the 400,000 where I reduced that request in anticipation of our infrastructure projects. You all on the same page?
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, you see, I didn't really increase my request from the previous year, with the exception of to get that one reduction, and then looked at what we spent in professional services. So I dropped that down. You see, the actual was 169. The previous year we requested 200,000. So this year I actually dropped it to 175. So that answers that question. And then a pump station is essentially our utility costs. You have utility bills, electric bills associated with our pump stations. And that's second to the last page. You can see where it says utilities miscellaneous. And just anticipating potential electrical increases, it went from 715 to 725,000 for our utilities to manage our pump stations.
Wow.
Now, I also wanted to mention two things real quick. Not to, of course, we have more projects than what I mentioned earlier in my presentation, but those projects are being funded by OWDA funding. So for the same reason he talked about appropriating the budget, et cetera, et cetera. Those you'll find under water expenses, 5809 on the first page.
Do we know ballpark just, and I know that I don't care if it's reflected here or not, ballpark what we have in projects going on right now with those? If it's.
We have the 8 million at Buckeye Platte, and then coming down the pipeline is the 6 million for the Randall Park, and then the prep work for the the Web Road Pump Station. But those are all again being funded by, externally by the OWDA.
Okay,
So what'll happen is, as you look at that document, when you see it next year, you'll see it as an
right,
actual
yeah, I
expense.
just wanted to know
But
what.
we don't put it on the budget,
Yeah.
these are gonna be done as ordinances. But you'll actually see when we do side by side next year, how much we actually expended on those.
Just as when we go out and we're in front of the public a lot and they ask about water bills and we say that, what do you do to the system? It's always broken. We always see the streets tore up. That's what people see, but we could say, there's an $8 million project going on at Buckeye Platte. There is a, $4 million, you said at Crandall, $6 million at Crandall. And then we have other planning. So we're spending, the ballpark of 18 million or something on projects right now. So we need to be able to sell that when we're out.
Yeah.
Let folks.
And I wanted to pass this out real quick for you. That's just a list of our current debt service. I know you hear me talk about at the council meetings, there you go. Talk about these loans. Have no fear. That's something I've been tracking for a number of years. Yeah, since we've been here, right? And the highlighted, those are the loans that will be coming off this year. At our peak, we were at 20 million. If you look at the bottom down in that, I think it's gray.
Yeah.
I think it's down to 5. So we're about to inflate that with these projects, but I just wanted to show council, have no fear. We're on the job.
Paying our
All
bills.
the water towers, that's what it was.
Yeah.
All the water, we replaced all the water towers. Now that debt service are coming off, we're close to being finalized and finished.
So until we have to
What
replace
do you
them.
mean replace the water tower?
Yeah, we put up 2 new water towers.
But not on the east side.
No, we didn't need to on these sides.
You said I had the better one.
You said, oh, that's what I'm saying.
Look at the chair, we gave them a new pump station.
And I still got my same old water tower.
We've got that service contract with the folks who clean them,
Oh, yeah,
some
yeah.
refurbish
They do a
them.
great job.
And that was a
Great
long-term
job.
contract.
Yeah, that was on the west side, was it?
No, we have a water tower on the west side.
Replaced,
East side had the strongest ones. The newest
Yeah.
really?
ones.
I just wanted to pass out, this is my equipment or vehicle request for 2026. So that when it comes to
As
council,
long as it's less than the police cars, Jimmy will be okay.
that won't be the first time you see the request, but those are the exact vehicles we're looking to replace, the exact mileage and the exact vehicles that we're looking to buy to replace those vehicles. And then keep in mind also, you see the mileage increase about 30 to 40% because that's not including the idle time when they're out, especially during the winter time when it's 0 below, those cars are running. So it really wears on the engines and what have you. But I at least wanted to give council that to see what we're looking to replace and what we're looking to replace it with. So that when it comes to council, Jimmy don't get on my case.
Go ahead, Councilman.
No, I'm just wondering why they're not in the budget now,
Are they in the budget now? Are these?
That's in the budget. This is what you
Oh, they are, okay.
Yeah, that's on page, the first
I'm
page.
good if it's in the budget.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the first page. You'll see 450.
We decided to, instead of breaking it out, we were gonna do it in that manner for you. Thought you'd like to see the
Okay.
miles, because I don't put the miles and stuff.
Oh, equipment 450.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the equipment that's,
Well, that was equipment. That's vehicles.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
Usually what they buy.
I'm good. I got no problems with that. Thank you for the clarity.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
You need to let the record reflect. Jimmy was pleased with that. The star on this for you.
Mayor, you notice I'm not saying nothing back. I'm on my good behavior, as he said.
It's on the bottom. You even listed the dealership.
Local to local.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions for water?
Undercoating, radios. No, I think that's pretty thorough. Any, Amber, Julius, anything? Jimmy?
No.
Anything else you wanna highlight? You brought a couple.
Just the one issue that you brought up about the issue regarding that I don't know where that legislation is going. You probably heard or had a chance to read what I said regarding that legislation and the potential impact if we would reduce our current charge to our partners, the 40%. I do a controller Ted ran some numbers and the impact is about $2.1 million. It's pretty significant. And if that was to happen, we would have to turn around and raise rates. And you said the average was about what,
Yeah, it's $3 per customer per
$3 per customer. That would be an immediate impact to the entire distribution system if that was the pass. That's why I say it's counterintuitive to introduce legislation like that. I don't know where it's going, but I just wanted to give you some real world numbers as to what would happen if that was to go through. And that's not including what is coming down the pipeline from MVSD. So for perspective, I just wanted to share that with council.
And
Go ahead.
to Jimmy Hughes' chair, thank you. So all I was asking for.
Okay.
So is there any,
Julius?
thank you, through chair, so is there any type of, what do we do in anticipation as a city? Like, we just, when it happens and it affects us, what's our recourse?
I heard about it. First I heard about it was Friday. That was the first I heard about it.
So this is a proposal to make sure we're on the same page.
By the state representative.
But remember, through the chair, Columbus has grown through jetting.
Right,
Now all that works through the process of providing water.
right.
You're gonna have your lobbyists in Columbus speaking up on behalf of Cleveland, Columbus, Youngstown, just because we all survive. And that's how these communities or these suburbs survive, is because these cities have been the ones who've made all the infrastructure
Investment, right.
investment. To say all of a sudden now you're gonna be limited, that would be catastrophic. But what's going to happen out of Columbus is they're gonna be supporting this whole voice to this language, because that's the only way that they're gonna continue to grow is through the jetting process. So I gotta believe that there's going to be lots of opposition, but it's not gonna come from it's gonna come from the big communities. The problem is, it's all these smaller communities that have legislators who are the ones receiving the water and not understanding what cost and hard work goes into servicing these sites. And hopefully that message is gonna be conveyed to the overall General Assembly, because they need to recognize that these cities that provide this are needed, because that's how infrastructure has grown and has made the state more, user-friendly for these huge discussions of, data centers and things like that. The water systems are all owned by your major cities.
Correct. So they're saying that the proposal is to not allow a surcharge anymore. Then everyone has to be,
To limit it to only 25%.
okay.
And you got to think Cleveland, they have a tiered, on their third tier, I think theirs is 80%.
So they want more government regulation.
They just want more money.
No, they want to spend less, but they want to, they want to use our services. They want us to maintain our system and then yell at us and point the fingers at us and
We
then
have
take.
another long-term plan.
Right.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any from the other water department folks, anything you guys?
Well, I did, through the chair, I know you had taxed me back 2015 when we started this meter project. And, we are, at the end of this year, we're going to be able to notify customers. They're going to be able to do their own thing. We're nascently doing that now.
Is the technology outdated now?
No, actually, it's not.
Okay.
Actually, we're one of the, I want to say, early adopters of this stuff, even though we've been 10 years into this project. But, currently we contact customers when they have a water leak, that sort of thing, but they'll be able to do it all themselves. They'll be able to go on, set up their own limits and so forth, so they'll know exactly what's going on. You're on vacation, hit a vacation mode, if anything's water being used while you're on vacation, boom, it'll notify you. It'll be really slick how it'll all turn out. We just had our big kickoff meeting before this meeting.
When's that gonna?
Looking at probably end of Q3, but it'll be up and running.
All right, so we can do a little show, maybe some town halls on each side of town to educate the public on that. Okay, Councilman?
And you don't have to give me, it's good. last year, before we started this survey for lead and pipes and changing and all that good stuff, I haven't heard anything. I personally haven't heard anything as to the outcome and where we at with that. I think EPA or whatever that was sending all the letters, or did we send the letters out?
We sent those letters.
Okay, well, all of that's going on. What's the? What happened?
Well, through the chair,
Go ahead.
so we had to, by 2027, we have to have a definitive inventory of what land we have in our system. That was the purpose, initial purpose for those notifications. And we have ongoing projects where we're identifying and removing some of the lead. Now, some of that we're going to do ourselves. So part of that information that came back to us, where we identified, where the customer identified and shared the information, we track it. It's all plotted. And so aside from like the project at Buckeye Platte, we're gonna do some of the work internally. That, it was on the last meeting, we had received another 500,000 grant where that money could be used to offset materials and labor. So we'll hit different sides of towns where we identified lead lines that we'll remove. We'll do those internally.
I know there was I considered a survey that was sent out asking the constituents as to examine their own pipes and stuff. Was that part of what we're talking about here? How was the results of that as well?
It's just, yeah, how much lead do we have out there?
Well, as a result of that and some of the other data, we identified about 11,000 counts that had lead. Now we're finding out, because it was that information was based on the parameter where the house was built. And we're finding out with this project that it's not as many as we thought. You know, it's kind of hard to tell. But 2027, we need to know exactly. That's one of the reasons why we purchased that hydro excavator, so we can go out and start potholing and identifying, where those lead lines are, so that we have a accurate inventory to report to the EPA.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you. This water's dismissed.
That one.
I didn't say something. Cameras just manipulating some of the things I want to say.
You
Freezing. Camera, sometimes it just looks, like right now. All right, do we need a break before we go into this? Do we need a restroom break or anything? All right, hearing none, we can move to building and grounds. This is Mike Drummond. I don't know, Kyle, are you giving us the intro?
Currently, right as of today, we have 4 utility men in the department. Well, if you're aware, Roger did retire.
Yeah.
There's documentation on my desk to create somebody who should fill his spot. I don't have that built in that manner, but as you can see, the on calling out of rank cover that, because once somebody is in that role, that amount will then be reflected in whoever is chosen to fill that position. But right now, that department is overseen by Building Grounds Commissioner, which is Mike. And there's going to be potentially some other changes where we may move somebody out of this one of these positions. And
So is there a vacant one there that's not showing up?
no, what's not in here is the actual position of the supervisor of.
Chief. You go,
Yeah, sure.
it's the chair, it's our chief utility man.
So we're not budgeting for it this year?
No, we are budgeting for.
Sometimes you show vacant ones.
Yes, and I unfortunately didn't fill that in when I created this. This was done weeks and months ago, building and grounds. And
Where's Roger?
He's not there.
because he wasn't in the position because he had already left and we haven't replaced it. We're about to. But what'll correct for that is there won't be a need for so much of the out of rank, which is already built into the budget. And the difference between that position and the person, what they're going to earn, will be covered by that.
Is that what the stars are for?
Yes, that is correct.
That's only 15,000.
Correct. So moving on to the actual budget. The big changes within this budget is significantly going to be down in the bottom under building and grounds. I'm sorry, building, because we began the build out of the second floor on City Hall last year. We also had a number of projects that were addressed in other buildings across the campus of the city's building suites. But in the current year, we are finishing what we started downstairs. And then we also are requesting about $200,000 to make improvements to the entrance to the police department. Mike is going to oversee that. They would like some safety upgrades just because they feel like there's too much exposure to when the public comes in, and we estimate that it should take about that much money to make some of those improvements. And if there's any questions, Chuck and Mike would be able to better answer.
I think this came up last year and the thought was, that we're told the building was in dire straits, that we shouldn't be investing that kind of money. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do they go down to the
And-
sub basement and look at
and
the
through the
beam?
chair, I mean, we made the decision to make that improvement to the elevator because we had held off 7, 8 years ago when we made the improvements to City Hall into the courthouse, because we thought we potentially would be relocating those people into a different area. As of right now, in the way that we chose to use ARP and the fact that opportunity of maybe collaborating with state and federal government for further assistance, that didn't come to fruition. So right now, we're looking at, for the short term, and when I say short term, less than 5 years, how do we make sure that the police department is taken care of in the site and place they are? And we will continue to look and see if there's a possibility of finding some future funding sources to potentially move them. But right now, as of this budget, we do not have anything built in prepared for that, other than they've asked if we would tackle some improvements downstairs.
Councilman Oliver?
Yeah, so my question would be, we've already paid parties for the potential safety campus. What are we doing with funds that have already been put out as far as ARP for? I mean, because we are gonna be putting money into something that was supposedly deemed too bad to even.
Yeah, we saw a whole presentation.
It was like,
about
don't
how-
even change the doorknob. 'Cause
Correct. The drinking fountains were spewing sewage, was we were
feces
told.
and- So, I'm just saying, there's already money out there for a safety campus somewhere at this point. What are we doing with those funds that are already out there, and what's the plan for the new safety facility? I don't want to be throwing money after bad money.
Chair, I think that there's some decisions that need to be made. The preliminary work that was done with the design work as relates to the new safety campus is still there. There's still work that needs to be done. Yes, there's still work that needs to be done. We'll definitely expend those funds, expend that work, I should say. I think we have to expand our options and really take a deeper dive into this to see what's in the best interest of the city as it relates to the housing of the police department. I think sometimes we're not always driving the bus when we're looking for funding opportunities and situations that come up, whether it's, at the state level, federal level, that we're not necessarily in control of, but.
We're all on the bus right now. We in this room.
Well, I guess my question just back would be that it's been expressed to this body before that there were significant health and safety concerns of that building. And I would want if we're gonna spend dollars, it should be for those purposes to make it, safer and healthier. If we, functional and economical replacements that are for the folks. If this is one of them that is necessary, I think everyone here would say, go for it. But if, you're not gonna fix your front door if your roof's leaking.
Through the chair, and I think, Mike, you can jump in anytime you want, Mike, but Mike's been working with, the police department on a lot of those issues already.
He's kind of a quiet guy though, isn't he?
Is this the great, we had an architect come in and tell us the building was,
Species coming out of the water fountain.
and the garage is,
No, but they got the beams down there and they showed us photos and they're
Through the chair, those beams were repaired on an emergency basis.
good job.
there was an assessment done on the garage. I mean, is the garage stable? Is the basement stable?
There's no way they can
Through the
stay
chair,
there.
it is stable right now.
Okay.
I was involved with that with Kevin when he was here, but
Councilman Oliver.
I just a final question. You weren't supposed to be able to survive in the police department another year. I'm just saying, like, as we stay in there, as we building something else, because there's money out there to build something else. And me personally, just thinking as somebody supposed to take care of funds, I don't want to put money into this building if we got to tear it down or if it's not going to be occupied, when we've already spent money to build another building, whether we're going to put it over there, over here, wherever we're going to put it at, we've made headway on a new building for the police department. So is there, not next 5 years, because that's what I heard, so that don't make sense. Is there plans to build a new safety facility, which should be within this year if it was as important as it was supposed to be during all this time we was coming up to it when we put the money in Strollo's hands? I think, what are we doing with that money is the final question. And are we building a new
Well, I think the safety campus idea from over there is the money spent. We spent that money on preliminary drawings, correct? Is that accurate?
through the chair, that is accurate. I think we have to
Money
circle back and look at all financial options and funding mechanisms on how we accomplish what's in the best interest of the police department.
So how much was allocated towards that?
The chair, 1.5 was allocated towards it. Was it 1.2? I can't remember. I think it was
Through the chair, I think it was 1.5.
1.5. And to the chair, to date, I think we have spent $800,000 of that money.
Okay.
For drawings?
To the chair for study, because there was discussions between looking for different sites, some drawings. Where we are.
Well, I don't want to, sorry,
I'm just saying, I'm not really getting an answer. Are we building a new?
I don't,
Through the chair, I don't know that, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know that we have an answer at this budget hearing. I think, I think we're here to develop an operating budget for 2026. I think these are longer term, big picture discussions we need to make possibly in a committee.
And,
Councilman.
and we did mention a name, but I've been to those meetings and and I think a lot of the company, that did what the work that they did. And there was a reduction in the price from where it was started off to be to where it came out to be. So it's not like we just giving people money, we didn't just give the company money for not doing anything. They did produce, and from my understanding in it, I'm well satisfied that it was money well paid.
Through the chair, in the architectural world, that's called programming. They had countless meetings with the police department officers and the upper level brass to discuss their needs and the footprint of the required space. Site selection, as we brought everyone together from Ms. Ms. Fields to Mr. Flynn, myself, police department brass, the chief, so everybody was there. And we had committee meetings, lots of meetings to discuss site selection. So we were moving the project forward. The funding stack was obviously, if we had a funding stack, this project would be moving forward. It was the plan. I think we have to take a better, closer look now at what they always say famously is needs and wants. We have to live within a budget or maybe establish a budget and come up with an alternative plan that fits within our new city budgets and available funding.
And you can throw council in there too, because I did attend a bunch of those meetings. So.
Just final question.
Yeah.
So moving forward, safety forces isn't gonna have any issues with being in where they're at right now. They just want the upgrades to the front.
Through the chair, this is what was the request that they came to the administration with, and this is what we're putting in front of council requesting.
I don't know what the survey said about the facilities. Is that on there?
All right,
Okay. Let's get back on track. We didn't get past
No, I really did zap that.
So in addition to that, we have put again, it's not a large stipend in place for some potential furniture. The hope is on the second when economic development moves from 4 to 2, once 2 is finished, there is a stipend to buy some furniture to assist in getting that floor ready for the public to actually use it and to have meetings with hopeful redevelopers and new business clients. When I move down further, we have some small amount built in for computer and voice build out for the second floor. And then the request for the backup generator.
Through the chair, it should be noted that as we determine the priorities within the, mostly, let's be honest, it's mostly City Hall and Police Department. At the end of the day, as the budget increased over the last 2-3 years, we are $300,000 less in expenditures the previous year.
Because we're gonna have a fire escape, hopefully. Fire escape is now holding up the building.
So that was what was in black, you had fire escape, and then you had the beginning build out of the second floor.
You still got a big tractor out there, excavator out there. now.
That's the second floor, not the fire escape.
I just,
Councilman Hughes.
we, early on, 2 years ago, 2021, I believe it was, we were talking about this second floor, the old clerk of court's office floor. What's going on and is that open as we speak or no?
Through the chair.
Go ahead, Mike.
That's almost complete. Painting's being done. They're wrapping up the electrical. Within the next month, that'll be done. Mike Durkin and his crew, the main kitchen and CPET are gonna move down there. Then we're going to move Mike Durkin down to where CPET is now. Kind of just shuffling them around. But yes, the second floor is all brand new.
Yeah, so but it's not open as we speak.
Not yet. It's close, but not yet.
But the funds has been spent. No more is being allocated for it. I know.
Sure.
Through the chair, I'll jump in on this one if it's okay. But you will be seeing legislation for, I don't have the numbers in front of me, a relatively small increase for that project as it relates to some plumbing that we wanted to repair in City Hall. That was definitely money well spent. The data needs have increased a little bit as it relates to the internet.
Was it always the plan for CPIT? I thought it was Durkin's because it was the most public access.
Through the chair, that was the previous administration elected, that was designed and it was built with the idea that CPET would be moving down there. And that's what we're doing.
Where's Jonathan going? Oh, no.
through the chair.
I don't know.
Yeah, the corner office.
Councilman Oliver's been patiently.
Okay.
I'm just, I know we talked about moving Serve down on the second floor. Is that supposed to be happening still?
Through the chair, we don't have any, within the second floor renovation project of the old clerk of courts, there are no dedicated spaces for serve.
But there's a workout facility now in an old floor.
Sure.
You about to answer that?
You were chair, when we get to the mayor's budget, we will address second, that usage of that space.
Okay.
Are there any more questions that you have on building and grounds?
Just what would it take for an upgrade for our security with readers for us to secure our floor? And would that be a significant increase? I know that we don't have card readers to get in here. I know the mayor's office now has a doorbell or a buzzer system. For our safety on this floor, these doors are often
Residents coming all the time.
relatively open, so
We're just saying we want that.
yeah, we'd like to explore that.
Okay.
Through the chair, we'll work with the council clerk. And
Okay.
see what options are available.
Thank you.
You can also have mine too.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other questions on here? I think we picked one item to exhaust and that was the entrance, so. Elevator, right? Oh, we got a fire escape.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Thank you.
Can we use the fire? Can we get the? I'll have to check it out. I've never been on the fire escape. Can we get the?
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Through the chair, there's a
Heated?
grill on the 5th floor. I wouldn't
It's not
go.
heated.
A grill? Oh. So this brings us to the mayor's office.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, let's get this going, man.
Okay. Jimmy's all fired up now.
As you can see right now, we have one position that is unfilled. The mayor has begun the interviewing process to find an executive assistant. And once he finds that person and appoints it, that person will then fill up his staff, which is made up of himself, chief of staff, the events coordinator, and the second assistant secretary. Moving on to the actual budget with regards to the mayor's office. What you're seeing in the year over year is reflected because of the 27th payroll. Also, the change in the pension and pickup for insurance. With regards to the operating budget, the increases, if you turn the page, the third page, we went out and acquired some equipment for David, who is going to be expanding on how we communicate to the public using more technology in the digital environment. So when you come down to the operating services, I'm sorry, not to the operating services, down to operating supplies, we went out and we bought a mobile live stream minor equipment that Rick Deek and David did research on so that we may be able to do live events and put that directly out on the web. Mayor is using that technology within his 5 minutes with the mayor. We also believe that backup and professional services, that we'd like to renew our contract with Andy, with CS Communications as our public relations consultant. And then within to the department request for operating service, I've broken down expenses that we have, and that is, expenses associated with us being part of a bunch of different organizations within the valley, within the state, and also our the copier. So year over year, the mayor's budget is increasing $160,000. About 20K of that is associated with operating needs to run the department, run it differently than it was run in the past. And then the breakdown, of course, is on the wage and benefit side.
You couldn't have rounded or 666 down there? You could have played with that number a little bit, Kyle.
First name that I looked at.
I'm sorry that I don't even.
It's hard to follow him, Gal.
Yes. Yes, it is. Now, I want to point out that
Jimmy.
the big thing that you're seeing that's different in this budget that wasn't in last year was when Nikki Pushley was here, even though she acted as chief of staff and CPED, she was paid on a CPED of being the director. Jonathan, being out of civil service, is being paid out of the mayor's office as chief of staff. That's why you're seeing what looks like a much larger increase in that 106. It's associated with the difference between how how Nikki was, what position she was in versus the position that Jonathan is in. So really all it has done is we've increased this budget. But as you saw reflected in both where Jonathan and Mike Drummond, we have two departments where you've seen much lower wage for the department heads because there are no department heads. So in essence, this administration has kind of balanced it, just done it differently with what positions we fill. But that is the actual mayor's office. And then we were going to move on to discuss the other two units within the mayor's office. And that is human relations. Mayor and the administrator, well, the mayor is considering potentially replacing, well, we've had said our goodbyes to Mr. Klinkscale. The mayor and Jonathan are evaluating potentially who we may want to move forward and have provide these services. So we are requesting that we budget for it. If there's no questions on that, I'd like to move to community engagement and social equity. You want the request for that this year is down from the 281,000 that was requested by the prior administration in 2025. This administration is requesting 225. And if you go to the last page, next to last page, you will see how we are going to use these funds. Between 40K is going to be dedicated for this MBK leadership conference and college tours. The professional services, we'll have a contract with both Dr. Jackson and then a contract with Guy Burney. We will then enter into another contract under operating services with J. Saul Campbell, who this was similar to what we did last year for 24K. And then we will also provide funding for the MBK staff through Kevin Douglas.
What is MBK?
Mayor, do you know what MBK stands? My Brother's Keeper. Then when we look down to operating supplies, we will fund the Hope Conference to the tune of 20K. That majority of that, not majority, well, half of that is rental of the Cavelli Center for those services to host that event. And then the last page, it will be the annual Women of Worth Academy and Conference, which we are earmarking 25K for.
Kyle, forgive me if I missed it or if you did. Are the events budgets in there too for what the downtown director does? Where does that show up?
Oh, that is in the Federal Plaza budget, and that is nearly identical to last year's $282,000. That is in Fund 106.
That is part of the mayor's budget though.
No, it is not. It's a separate fund that we make a transfer. I am transferring this year $240,000 to it. It had $40,000 surplus left over at the end of 2024. And the budget is practically identical to last year.
Are they still funding individual programs like they used to out of that, or is it been more? I don't know if you have an idea or it's been on your radar. Yeah.
Yeah, through the chair.
Go ahead, Mayor.
We'll look to allow David to retool a little bit, but keeping a bit of the same standard. You know, some of the festivals and events that seek funding. There's a blanketed amount that we feel comfortable in returning to, but as you see, even coming up here for St. Patty's Day, David's taking a different approach and getting some of the bars, restaurants to collaborate, saving money and retooling. So you'll see a little bit of the same traditional carryover of funding some of the simple programs and events, and then you'll see a little bit of us trying to use community partnerships to save some funding so we can reallocate it somewhere else.
Perhaps we'll have to have him give us a
The funding for the-
presentation to,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, but the funding for the community partnership, is there funds going to the community partnerships?
Through the chair, which community
When you
partnership?
mentioned the collaboration, that we're gonna continue some of the programs from the one budget.
Sure, just as an example, through the chairs, 4th of July, there's a significant community partnership that's gonna bring in funding to help cover a lot of the expenses that DeVee wants to put around that event. So what you formerly saw as food trucks and fireworks is going to significantly grow without tapping his budget. So again, that's an example of something where we spent money before, where we'll save those funds and reallocate them towards. There's a community partnership that's going to bring a significant dollar amount into that budget that allows us to do some of the things he wants to see done. So a little bit of both, if I could answer that.
And there's no Youngstown Day celebration on the books or something like that.
The chair, not presently,
There is the community day that,
out of the CPID.
yeah, the CPED.
No, I'm just talking about for the new guys just celebrating maybe.
They do a parade from the east side to the west side.
No, let's leave the west side out. Don't you get it done?
Why can't we have you just talk about partnerships?
Yeah. Actually talking about collaboration. You never collaborated with us.
Oh. Councilman Oliver.
Thank you, through chair. Kyle, last year we had talked about it. I think we was in the CEIC meetings. But we had talked about possibly budgeting for bathrooms as well as a national event when it comes to Juneteenth. Those monies were available at the time, per what you said. Actually, it included the mayor's former position.
Through the chair, if we were to even consider budgeting of the bathrooms because of restrictions on that site where water and utilities to run that, we can discuss that. I do know that it's not going to be inexpensive just because, one, you have to understand when they built the site out there, they learned a lot about what was underground. And just to excavate and do things in that footprint is quite expensive because of all of the concrete and rebar that still exists under the dirt over there. And then the problem is too, where is our nearest water line and utility hookup to then run to put something on that site? It can be evaluated and we can look into that pricing wise. And come back to you. That's something that Chuck and I, along with Eric, can come up with. But right now, that is not in this year's budget.
I would say I agree, and I know that, you know, at some point, it's always been we should put that on the radar because that's been a shortcoming of that park for utilization. It really hinders us what we're able to do. I think it's a great outdoor space, but that could take it to the next level, so.
I think at least for this year's budget, what could go in there is at least those portable modular units that they're like trailers. They're not porta potties, but they're full trailers. I'm just saying, you need something over there.
Through the chair, for 4th of July last year, we rented that one. For those 5 days was $4,000. So unfortunately, if we know that an important event is going to be held, we should consider that. But they do not come cheaply. That is the drawback. And right now, the budget request by all the departments is quite large. And we are hopeful once we finish the calendar year, we circle back and we start talking about where things are going to be going forward. Probably going to have to tighten our strings a little just because we're getting closer to getting back to what was normal, where we've utilized the CARE and the ARP funding, and now we're going to start prioritizing what are we going to need going forward when we start talking about projects. That's why the mayor is got us focused and concentrated on economic development. We've got to grow this community if we're going to try to expand on services and deliveries. And we're not going to be able to do that unless we attract more people to either live and to come downtown. So it is something that he is prioritizing internally with all of us. But right now, I'm sure as David works towards those large events, 4th of July, and some of the events that are potentially be down on that site, we're gonna have to take that and be conscientious of those guest services, which are our bathrooms, and how we're going to be able to provide that for the public.
I get that. I appreciate that, but I think now is the time. If we're trying to get people to live here, move downtown, move into the city, what we discussed last year is having a national act come in for Juneteenth. That's what we talked about. Me, you, Eric, former mayor, just a discussion. And we talked about having money set aside, which at the time you said was available for a large national act to come once a year.
Through the chair.
I remember the conversation.
I would never tell any council member that we would be using city government finances to finance paying for a national act to play on our footprint.
This was a conversation we had.
No, through the chair, I disagree with you, please.
I also think the bathrooms are important regardless of whether it's an event or not. I think that's something that should be in this budget. Whether you're walking your dog, running, jogging, whatever it is, there's nowhere to go. You can't go into the Cavelli Center. You can't run over to the amphitheater. If you're in that park, you need some type of facility to use the bathroom.
Chuck, did you have something?
Through the chair, yes, I just wanted to mention, it's not our money that this happened. However, with the Spring Common Park, but the B&O station, we're installing a precast restroom, and to purchase just the restroom, it's $75,000.
Oh, that's all?
Well, that's just the restroom.
Yeah, right, but that's
including
not-
any type of work to put it in,
Right,
or
that's
any type
not
of plumbing
insane.
connections, or.
That's not the service.
I understand that. That's
the
still not insane,
No.
considering what I just refurbished the bathroom at Ports, and what amount of work it was to do that. I was,
And he's confessing.
no, it's all public.
No, I think it's reasonable to have a bathroom for the Queen
Yeah.
Park put in here. I mean,
Well, it's-
Through the chair, it's not, that is not something that, I mean, right now,
Sorry, through the chair, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a bathroom down there, but I'm just saying that it's not that easy because it's usually easier to get water there, but the sewage has to flow by gravity.
You have a 96-inch line. that goes
It's not
through
true, good point. However, that is not the type of sewer that you're gonna make a domestic connection to.
I would say though, looking at how can we explore it, could it be closer to the Cavelli building? Could it be, in the parking lot? It doesn't have to necessarily be at the park. I mean, just looking at how can we move it, right there so it would be just an extension of something there. I think there's things that could be explored.
I think, you said it cost how much to rent the porta potty last year?
4,000.
that was
I'm just saying, what if we had to rent that all the time for multiple events all throughout the year, every year? It adds up. I think it's cheaper to just go ahead and buy the bathroom and install it.
That was under the mayor's budget. We probably should talk about that building.
It would be our building on our ground.
But we're in the mayor's budget now, so we kind of sidetracked them.
My bad.
Sorry.
Mayor, did you have?
I just want to say through the chair, I think the opportunity is, as Councilman Oliver positioned, one of the precipitating reasons I think we have this opportunity now, but we need to give it room to breathe, is that Y Live is returning to YSU Stadium, which I interpreted in my time in that role as CEIC, is that they wanted that green space to remain quite open and clear from obstructions during larger concerts. And I think now that that's returning, we have the opportunity to go back, let them settle in at that new facility, make sure YSU is comfortable with that space, and then we can come back and retool. There were a number of different offers to come into that space for a number of different things, and we might be able to have that conversation. I just think from my memory, JAC and Eric Ryan, they weren't even quite sure why YSU asked them to leave the stadium. And now President Johnson just asking them to come back. They have a bit of, fears and making sure they can stay there. Retooling Ween Park in that space, we just want to make sure the management group's comfortable with those. And so as we get through Y Live this year, go back and talk about that relationship. I spent 5 years in that role having the same conversation, and the need is truly there. ADA compliance, restrooms, shade, those additional amenities, but I think we probably need to allow just a little bit of time for the facilities switch from wing to YSU to make sure they're comfortable in that space.
Okay. Don't know that we need a bathroom facility to support a concert, but we need somewhere for folks to go.
Everyday activity.
Thank you. Sorry for the sidetracking on the bathrooms, because we were under the mayor's budget, the mayor's office, we kind of went into activities, but I think this shows that we probably need to have a mayor meeting with the events director. We could talk about what he's doing and what he's working on. Maybe, yeah. Also make sure, I think we used to, years ago, we kind of got away from it, but we would get updates about events at the council meetings. We'd give some time to speak. So, it's there, so we can hear about that. It's a good opportunity, especially for broadcasting now. So anything else from my colleagues? Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike and Chuck. What's adjournment's next on here, but what's our next meet? Have we completed are we gonna see the full document?
Through the chair, I will have the field document to Valencia. Well, I can have it to her by this Friday. It'll be on the legislative packet for next Wednesday.
Can we have it separate so it's not mixed in with the packet? I mean, it can be part of the packet,
I'll
but
send it to her as well, so that way she can just forward it to you in that manner.
yeah. Just because it makes it so big to go through. Anyone else have any requests?
In fact, then,
Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that.
no, this,
Go ahead, Councilman.
I don't know if I like the
I know you don't.
Could you go over just, I mean, I don't want no broad, nothing else. This whole process of us approving the budget or having these committee meetings and why it comes into one package, the city budget. Is it possible that, I mean, the concern that I have is that when we bring something up, it's not the right department, it's not the right this. We don't get that second opportunity to ask. I mean, if it's clarity, if it's approval, if it's what they're doing, but we can't discuss it at times like when I've done, it's what I'm trying to say. So is this process, this is how it's done, this is how everyone does their budget in one lump sum? They don't do departments and we don't have an opportunity to vote on individual things and line items or individual, just say no to a part of it. You put the whole package in front of us.
Through the chair,
Go ahead, Kyle.
you have the authority to tell me if you want something removed. You have the authority to request if we add something, then the administration needs to evaluate if we want to come to you and support funding that. I have to at least put in front of you a balanced budget document. That's my responsibility. So right now, this budget that's in front of you is relying on surplus dollars to meet these department heads' requests. We do not, and we never have passed a budget where the city's current yearly revenues met all the expenditure requests. We've had to curtail certain departments' requests before we've actually got up in front of you in the past, because what department heads were asking for, we could not accommodate because we didn't have enough in surplus to meet it. We, in this current budget, have surplus. Those department heads have asked for things that are in excess of that current year revenue forecast. We deemed it, when we came in front of you to pitch or to allow them to pitch what they're asking for, that we believed it was in the best interest of council and the administration to support that. And we're asking you to approve those requests. There's going to be times in the future where we're going to come to you and we're going to have curtailed the department head's request because we don't have the means to even present that to you, because we won't be presenting you a balanced budget. So we're asking you to rely on what we're asking for. We're asking you to trust that what we're going to use the resources that you provided us with to do good for the community. Remember, we still have to come back to you and ask for you to spend money in excess of 25K for anything that is contractual or that we're buying something. Outside of wages and benefits in employee size stat or employee staff size, you passing the budget gives us the authority to spend up to what we've asked you to fund with regards to headcount. But with regards to operating and equipment, we're gonna have to come back to you to spend what's in the budget. And if you don't deem that you want to allow that, you halt that process through the legislative ordinance cycle. Our hope is that you're going to work with us based on what we've asked and discussed with you in these meetings. But if you have a different agenda or a different idea, you during a meeting of committee meetings or during finance, discuss those changes that you'd like to make.
Councilman?
I'm just trying to get an understanding of our options. Even at this point, I'm not going back doing the mic and go to a committee that's never gonna meet, you know, and discuss it then. And my option, if that, say the majority of council do not want you to have this in your budget or to even have that many people in your budget, you know, whatever the case would be, what, if any, would be our options that we would have a say and we can execute or not execute?
Through the chair.
Go ahead, Kyle.
With regards to headcount,
And I
I
just
guess
threw that out there. I
if
had
you,
no
if
plan.
you chose to underfund a department budget for payroll and benefits, we would have to act on your decision. So if you said we're only going to fund enough for that payroll for the first 3 months and as long as you pass the budget before we get to that point of exhausting what was in the budget for payroll and benefits, we would have to abide by what you approved. So the only two departments that are exempt from that would be bailiff and clerk of courts. Because the judge can write a journal entry, which circumvents you as a body. With regards to operating, that's why we have to come to you and we give you a laundry list of things we'd like to buy. Typically, the laundry list of things that I identify are the large items. We can't buy them unless you give us authority through the legislative process. So you still dictate and determine what we spend large dollar amounts on. We do not in any, I mean, yes, up to 25K, we can buy something. And we don't need to come to you, but if something's gonna be in excess of that, we have a process that we have to abide, we have to follow with regards to requesting that you give us that authority.
Can I make an observation here? Or did you have a direct? Go ahead.
No, no, you,
No.
I have none. I just was trying to get clarity. I have no purpose, no motive, no
Okay.
nothing. And that's all. I mean, what's the, we've always said, that's our job. That's what you say throughout the year and whatnot there. And quite frankly, I just want clarity of what exactly the process would be, and especially when it comes to the budget, you know, that at times I can't even answer a question like it appears to me now. But so my thing is, I don't like to be gavel, and I don't like not my questions to be answered, you know, but the point still being is, at the end of the day, what's my option?
We have, through the chair, we have two things by the end of the day. You have to pass the budget by the 31st and it has to be in balance. That is the only like two requirements that the administration and council have to work together on that part.
Yes, but as a body, previously, we had folks on the body that kept trying to make requests. The body speaks through the body. So 4 council people in a committee meeting say, we want to do this project or we don't want that. So if we took a vote here today and said, Kyle, there's 4 people in this committee, we don't want this funded. You know, for example, we don't want $100,000 going to equipment. We could instruct him to take that $100,000 out, but we should do that through the committee or through instruction here. That's how we've done it in the past, and we've had some more difficult budgets or restrictions. I know the 1 year, 2 years ago, there was a debate on police and funding, and we kept it in. We did not fund that category. We kept in the overall budget, and then we had to release that at a later time. So we can do that. The other thing I think that would offer some clarity is when the legislation comes up and you say it's in the budget, maybe referring a little, telling us what fund or where we,
Are you asking me a question?
no, I wasn't asking you a
Oh,
question.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't want to ignore your question, but if you want.
No, I was saying that I was just kind of presenting how we've done that in the past. If there was a specific, something that wanted to be changed, we took the committee directed the finance director in committee to make an adjustment. So, because we had before we got mixed signals where 4 people on council would email the finance director and ask for something, and we can only speak when we're together. We can make a request. So we should make a request, or we kept a laundry list in the committee meetings and then went back and gave. I haven't seen any. There was a council person that said they wanted to do something with travel. That was an opinion, but until the body comes to consensus, you get to give the directive. So that's all I'm saying. If there's something here we want to give a directive to, we'd have to give Kyle a directive to make those changes as we were assembled.
Chair, and that is correct. And whatever directive you give me, it needs to be in balance. So if something you ask to spend more and we have the means, no change. But if you ask me to spend money that we don't have enough revenue, then we have to change something else to offset that to be in balance.
Okay. Councilman
I may
Oliver.
be potentially asking to spend more. Chuck, I need to know how much it's gonna cost to put bathrooms in. Like before we pass the budget.
Chuck,
We need a consensus of 4 people to give you the directive.
We need a consensus, Chuck.
We would, I mean, if we're gonna legitimately.
Here's the thing, it's 1,000, it's unlimited options for these bathrooms. Mike even said, he suggested we could just expand the Cavelli Center and put some bathrooms outside. So that's all I'm looking for is how much this would cost. You said this thing over here was 75,000. Just for the.
Through the chair. You have to appreciate, take on a council board. You have to appreciate that the bathroom that we put in down that the B&O is for an occasional use.
Chuck,
person. This isn't gonna have a capacity for a concert.
Is how much?
Well, I can't answer that right now through the chair, but
Answer that right now. I said
but
it
it's-
before we.
you have to
passed the
realize that
budget.
like for an event like that, for a crowd of that size, this bathroom would.
Well, I think there needs to be a clarification. We're not building a facility for a 20,000 person venue. We're either gonna talk about facilities for a park with park level usage, or we're gonna talk about, I don't think we should be building a facility for a 20,000 person venue.
Well, we always gotta get into stuff being difficult. Like, I'm sure I could call right now and get a price for a bathroom, how much it would cost to install. That's all I'm asking for is a price. It's like it's
Through
been,
the chair, I cannot answer that right now, but.
I
it's
know you
something I
can't
can
answer
look
that
into.
right now,
I can
Chuck.
look into it.
thank you,
Absolutely can. I would, and I will.
appreciate you.
Does anyone else want to get angry with me?
You need to start wearing your waterproof stuff. So allow us to throw water on you when we get sick of you.
That works both ways.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Clerk, is there anything else that calls for our attention?
no.
All right, I heard a motion to adjourn from Councilman Oliver. Is there a
Second.
second? We are adjourned at 6:17. Thank you.